let's talk a little bit about Roy Perez. This is a really old screen grab that I managed to jack or grab because I couldn't get a hold of the picture. By the way, I couldn't get a hold of the original picture, but this is from like what, 2017, I think. This is a screenshot of a video that I did where I reviewed my night out seeing Dr. Rubenstein play back-to-back all night long at Mixed Garage, which is a venue now that's called Color Factory, back-to-back with Roy Perez, who is the main subject of this particular podcast. And it was fucking fantastic. Really one of the best nights I've had out in a long time. The music was fucking sensational. Everyone was dancing from minute one to the end. It's kind of my first time seeing both of them play live anyway, and they killed it. And I think that was a time when they were playing back to back a lot. They were very close. I'm not sure what's happened to them now, but they were very close back then. I don't know if they talk to each other anymore, but they were very, 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 very close back then. But nowadays, not so much. I think I don't really see them playing too much. But one thing I do remember when after the gig happened, I asked them for a picture. You know who was actually the warmest and was actually down and really friendly about getting the picture? Roy Perez. Dr. Rubenstein was a little bit, you know, she was a little bit weird and iffy, but she might just have a thing generally with men. A lot of these women DJs are like that because, you know, the scene is a bit toxic and shit, so I get it. But Roy Perez was super nice. He was super, yeah, no problem, man, come here. You know what I mean, hugged me, like literally hugged me from behind, and I got the picture there, as you can tell, of me fucking fanning out, right, looking at these guys, right there, as you can see, having a fucking blast, right, in between these two fucking DJs. So I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of sad to see what's happening to Roy Perez now. I'm not gonna lie, it is breaking my heart to see what's happening to Roy Perez right now, because he's getting cancelled, and he's getting cancelled in a way where I legitimately think this might have like long-lasting damaging effects to his overall DJ career, and I don't think it's fair in general. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really think it's fair because this is a bit nuts. This story is going all over the place, right? This is courtesy of RA. It says Roy Perez releases a statement on his cancelled London show. The Israeli DJ, who recently drew criticism from online groups Ravers for Palestine, said he rejects all forms of nationalism, including Zionism. So essentially, Roy Perez was meant to play at this club called, for this night that we got here in London called Origins Sound. They do some of the best nights here, to be fair. They always get some of the best DJs. I've been to too many of them. They do events all over London. That's something I really rate about them as well. But I went to Origins I did was at Night Tales, but they do raves everywhere, all across London. Fold, Corsica, venue, whatever good venue there is, they fucking make it happen. I'm actually surprised Origins haven't done a festival just yet. So there's the original flyer for what Roy Perez was meant to be playing at. This was going to be an all night long affair in Fold of all places, right? Him playing all night long in Venue MOT. But I think they changed it to Fold. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, whatever. It was an all night long affair this Friday happening, and it's been cancelled super last minute because Ravers for Palestine, this really cool page that kind of highlights, you know, people in the industry, or no, just highlights the plight of the Palestinians, and obviously kind of tries to mobilize people in the dance music community to essentially boycott, protest, do whatever that they can do to essentially help bring about the end of the, you know, of the genocide that's occurring there in Palestine, isn't it? So free Palestine always, right, until it's fucking backwards. As much as I like Ravers for Palestine, the platform and the page, sometimes I feel like they go a little bit over the top, a little bit sometimes. In this respect, I don't feel like they did go over the top. I just feel like it's unfair because a lot of this information about Roy Perez has been available online for a while. And I think it should be the responsibility of the club promoters, the party promoters, to decide if he doesn't align with them. But for Ravers for Palestine to do what they did and, you know, kind of put it out there that he had served in the IDF, I think specifically the Navy, and then for it to get picked up and become a big deal, so much that Origins decides to cancel his gig, it's a bit bad mind. I also don't like the tattletale nature of it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like the tattletale nature of it. It feels a bit snitchy. It feels a little bit whole monetary. You know, I don't like that aspect of it at all, zero. But once you read into it and you find out like Roy Perez allegedly served in the Israeli Navy for like 7 years. You're like, huh? And then you Google how long you're required by law to serve in the Israeli Defense Force or the Israeli Army. You find out it's like only 2.5 years. So it's like, what the fuck were you doing in the Navy for 7 years? You know, so he must have really fucking enjoyed bombing parts of Palestine, you'd imagine. Allegedly. I don't know what's going on. So this article was one of the main things that kind of led to the demise of Roy Perez. I think DJ career overall, because I don't think it's going to survive this. I think there's going to be a domino effect of other clubs seeing what's happened here and then being pressured by their customers or feeling morally obliged to kind of, you know, go behind what they're doing and decide to kind of cancel shows. And, you know, it's going to get crazy, I think, for him. But let's read it anyway. It's making apartheid look like a party. How DJs like Roy Perez manufacture consent for settlers' colonialism. Heavy accusations, right? But anyway, let's just read what they're saying here, because this is heavy. This is London nightclub Fold is advertising origins all night long with Roy Perez, an artist who has done more than almost anyone to normalize Israel in the underground rave culture. I wonder, right? I wonder if that's why, because I remember it being at Fold and it said venue MOT. So did Fold cancel it and say, no, he can't play here? And then they had to switch it to venue. Is that what happened? Because I did remember seeing it being at Fold. So it must have been at Fold, then it got cancelled last minute. Then it got fucking just cancelled altogether. I don't like this sentence. I'm not going to lie. I don't like this sentence. This sentence, like, normalize Israel in the underground rave culture. What does that mean? So if you're Israeli, you can't participate in dance music. You can't be a part of club culture. Imagine you didn't serve in the army. Are they then going to reject or kind of, you know, go against you and act as if like you shouldn't be a part of the scene because you just happen to be Israeli? I don't think that's fair across the board. I think it should depend on what you've done as opposed to just your nationality. Like, that's a little bit insane, I think. But what do I know? Roy Perez was personally invited international DJs to break cultural boycotts and play, including Nyx, Shanti Celeste. Wow, they're naming names. Marie Montextia. Yo, leave her alone, by the way. Leave my lady Marie alone. Gabriel Kwarteng, leave my fucking black queen alone too, please. He has glamorized Tel Aviv's diverse, dynamic, queer nightlife scene in media. But it is though, isn't it? Isn't Tel Aviv one of the best scenes out there? Prior to the genocide, weren't people saying Tel Aviv had one of the best rave scenes, one of the best club scenes and shit? There's a big gay community out there too. I've seen some of the clubs. Yeah, they look fucking fantastic, like interior design wise. So I don't know why there's all this revisionist history, like, oh, trying to norm. It's like, if I'm not mistaken, aren't there a lot of people from Israel involved behind the scenes in the dance music industry? It's just is what it is, isn't it? I don't know why people are acting belligerent or confused about it. I don't know. Let's continue. He has glamorized Tel Aviv's diverse, dynamic, queer nightlife scene in the media. His Laundrette collective held a fundraiser for Nova survivors, and alongside the other DJs in the collective, Partok and David Elimelech, he consistently undermines our community and boycotts of Berghain, Whore and Boiler Room. How can you say he's undermining your community when he's not a part of it though? Like, that's a weird statement, isn't it? He consistently undermines our community's boycotts. So I'm guessing they're saying our community, like the DJs, right, who are boycotting Berghain, Whore and Boiler Room because of the war in Palestine, or the, you know, genocide in Palestine, which is admirable and, you know, should be respected and praised and shit. But if you're not a part of it, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair for someone to then say, oh, you're not a part of it, that means that you are what? Undermining the boycott. Like, I'll just decide not to be a part of it. You're not undermining it. I don't think so. But what do I know? Despite this, allegedly queer resistant spaces like Basement to Body Movements to continue to book Roy Perez and other settler DJs. Settler DJs? How is he a settler DJ? This is because he's from... Is he actually a settler though? Honestly, they're throwing around some accusations. This is hilarious. They're calling him a settler DJ. Yo, I feel for Roy Perez, man. Honestly. I'm a little bit honest. Like I said before, I'm very biased, right? You know me. Look, I admit my biases. He seemed like a really nice guy. Like, he was really warm when they had that brief interaction behind the booth. Honestly, Rubenstein was the one that was more standoffish. He was actually really nice about the picture, you know, and he's a really good DJ. Like, I hate it has to be him, man. I really hate it has to be him, but I guess it is what it is. Fuck it, they'll settle a DJ, you know. Most damagingly, they promote this artist on lineups alongside ostensibly pro-Palestinian artists. So it's a crime if you don't join their boycott when you weren't a part of it in the first place. It's a crime if you're Israeli and you DJ. And it's also a crime if you're Israeli and you DJ and you play on lineups with other Palestinian DJs. It's like, what does my location on the lineup have to do with anything? Like, did I do anything? Like, I think that's what it should be about. Like, did you serve in the army? Cool. How long did you serve? What did you do? Who did you kill? You know, let's get into the details. Let's not just be like, oh yeah, some person was a cook. Some person served, you know, mandatory fucking military service. They served as a fucking chef, right? Or as a nurse, and now they can't have a DJ career. Like, come on, man. That's a bit unfair, man. That's a bit unfair. There are grave instances of normalization defined by the centering of al-Tawabet as actions which co-opt and disarm and de-radicalize revolutionary demands for liberation. Laundering the occupation. Roy Perez was born and raised in Ashkelon. Isn't that where Dr. Rubenstein is from? I swear she's from there. In Ashkelon, in occupied Palestine, a few miles from the Gaza border. He's a founder of a Tel Aviv party called Laundrette. He played a key role alongside the city's underground scene. In international media, Perez is often glamorized his settler coming of age while championing... Yo, settler coming of age story is fucking insane. While championing the dynamism of the colony's queer nightlife. It is quite interesting though, isn't it, that they do what they do in places like Palestine, right? They murder women and children and shit, displace a bunch of people, bomb and eviscerate an entire fucking location, but then they also have a very vibrant, very forward thinking, you know, queer scene in there in Israel. Don't you think that's interesting? Like that contradiction, that juxtaposition, that contrast is just wild, isn't it? When it says here, when Perez eventually moved to Tel Aviv, the people he met there opened his eyes to queer clubbing vibrant soundtrack. Being in Tel Aviv, the quote says, was much more free, he tells me. Indeed, today Tel Aviv is known for its thriving queer party scene with loose receptive crowds and clubs like Block, which act as a haven for the wider politics in the city. This is from a Crack magazine 2017, he said that. And here in the Jaeger Oslo in 2017, he said, the queer scene in Tel Aviv is definitely out there. Everything was super diverse. Maybe some people would think that politics in versions of this also recur in his artist bio. A bio of him from ADE says, after a head start playing records in 2011 as a local resident in Tel Aviv's underground club scene, as Nerdine Kiswani has noted, scripts like this serve as a crucial legitimizing function for the entity. I don't know what that means. Tel Aviv's club scene, it says as a quote, framed as a beacon of light, progressive, diverse and full of life, but in reality it plays a central role in the whitewashing of Zionism, making apartheid look like That is a stretch, no? Who in their right mind sits there and thinks, oh, because Tel Aviv has a popping, thriving, vibrant club scene, that they completely forget the atrocities that are taking place in Palestine, or they completely forget the crimes that the Israeli government has perpetuated, or whatever stuff that the Israeli Defense Force, Israeli army has done. Who does that? No one in their right mind ignores what is going on because they've got a pop-in party scene. Like, that's not the truth at all. I don't believe that. That is a crazy reach, I personally think, but I could be wrong. Liberal Zionist myth-making. On 7th of October 2023, the day of Operation Al-Qasr flood, Roy Perez was scheduled to host an edition of the Laundrette in Tel Aviv. The night before, he had headlined a night at the Karabet or the Kabarit, a now shuttered mixed queer space with Israelis and Palestinians in Haifa. A month later, he brought London DJ Nix out to the settler colony for the 3-year resident anniversary of Gazo's, proudly titled Roy Perez Invites Nix. We spilled this out to underline that Roy Perez is not incidentally from Israel. He has served as a linchpin for the... Oh my God, that is... So because he puts on nights and parties where he's in the country that he's born in, that makes him a what? An extension of the government in terms of their wanting to whitewash. Like, huh? If anything, you should be focusing on his army career. Like, why did he spend 7 years in the Navy? What did he do in the Navy? What missions did he go on? Like, that should be the important thing. Not, oh, he put parties on. He organized parties in Tel Aviv. Like, isn't he from there? Like, what's wrong with that? I'm so confused. In November 2023, Roy Perez threw a special fundraiser edition of Laundrette in Berghain. Yeah, I remember seeing that. The funds will directly help survivors and evacuees of the 710 massacre, unsheltered Bedouin communities, displaced Palestinian communities due to the settler violence. Queer Arabs in both Israel and Palestine need professional psycho-social counseling and other undeserved groups. Yo, that's what I remember, by the way. I do remember this, right? I think I might have the article here. I do remember that being a thing. Laundrette, right? This is a party series he runs with these two other guys. He does in Tel Aviv, and you know, they were doing it around the world, and they had one event they did in Berghain, and legitimately, as a headline here says from Mixmag, Laundrette party at Panorama Bar will donate funds to Israeli and Palestine victims of violence. I don't see why that's wrong. I know he's also donating the money to Palestinians and also Israeli people, and I know people are going to be angry about that, but it's mostly framed around giving this money to like queer folk on both sides who have been negatively affected by the war, right? Who've been displaced, who probably don't have access to certain resources, medical stuff, whatever it may be. Like, I don't think this is a bad thing. This is actually pretty cool. You would imagine, because you'd imagine those, you know, those queer Palestinians or those queer Israeli people, the queer Israeli people, they need help as well. You'd imagine some of them, especially the ones who have lived in areas where they've been affected more by the war and shit. I don't see why that's a bad thing. Queer party Laundrette is coming to Berghain for a marathon party in Panorama Bar. This was from a couple of years ago. Known for their free back-to-back sets, the founders David Eli Melish, Partok and Roy Perez span up to 15 hours. Laundrette swims through Chicago house, tribal drums, rave essence, acid, consummate ease. Join the trio, the Berlin Cultural Institute, Rotterdam's Susie Ijo, and London's Faf. The parties began at Tel Aviv's based Fee Garden Club. This place is, I've seen this on Instagram. This place looks gorgeous, bro. Yes, look at the bio. Permanent ceasefire now, hostage release, de-escalation. So do any of my friends follow? Okay, there's a couple of friends I know who follow them page, but yeah, this is a cool club, man. This is in Tel Aviv, if I'm not mistaken. It looks really cool. Let's see if I can is there any videos about it? Any videos from there's a video from the inside. Well, that looks cool to me. I don't know. I know some people won't be too happy with that, but I think it's a cool little club. The way it looks like, what they got in their story. Did they post anything there? Okay, yeah, they're not gonna get involved in the Roy Perez thing, and they're not gonna say free Roy. They're not gonna say free Roy. I don't think so. Yeah, they're not gonna say free Roy, but yeah, big up them. It looks like a fun little club. Not gonna lie, it looks like a vibe. It looks like a vibe. Any videos of it on the dance floor? You see anything? Nope. Okay, fair play. Oh, there's even a black guy there. There was even a black guy out there, but yeah, cool little club. The little outdoor patio bin with the disco ball and shit. I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it. Anyway, let's go back to the article. It says this paragraph fully embodies the eliminatization. What the fuck does that word mean? Eliminatization project. Eliminationism. What the fuck does that mean? Is a political ideology that views a group within a larger social group as harmful, therefore believes that it must be eliminated by separation. Okay, cool. Cavitated scraps are available for the natives deemed recuperable or non-threatening, and the loyal Benidorm or Benedouin model minority plus queers, agro natives who aren't the risk of producing more natives. In addition to the note of Berghain fundraiser for Nova survivors, Laundrette added the following, quote, "We would like to emphasize our belief in coexistence and our hope for peace. That is why our home club since day one has been Fee Garden, a communal political space with staff consisting of both Palestinians and Jews, providing a safe environment for our queer community and marginalized groups." That sounds even better, isn't it? There's actually Palestinian people that work there, that live there. That's not a bad idea, right? A little safe haven, a little utopia that you can go to and escape and unplug from the horrors of everyday life, and be around the people that that are just like you. What's wrong with that? Let's continue. The myth of the settler/native coexistence is one of the core discursive pillars of the liberal Zionism. It posits the colony as an unchangeable reality, which must be accepted by the native rather than resisted. The current bio for Fee Garden: permanent ceasefire now, hostage return deal now, de-escalation and elections now, perfectly expresses the insidious violence. Hold on. Saying permanent ceasefire now and hostage return deal now and de-escalation elections now, that's violence. Aren't those words of de-escalation the complete opposite of violence? Or am I bugging? Perfectly express the insidious violence of this script, which posits the occupation of Palestine by a fascist European death cult as a problem for both sides. This whole thing is exhausting. I'm not gonna lie, man. Let's be clear, peace in this context, is a euphemism for the orderly annihilation of the Palestinian life. Any settler advocating for coexistence rather than full decolonization and right of return supports the colonial occupation of Palestine and its continuance. Soft power and a settler artist. Gal Gadot is a cartoonish example of a Zionist settler. She's martial, she's hawkish, provincial. She acts poorly in a jingoistic, I love that word, jingoistic Hollywood productions. She won Miss Israel in 2004. DJ's like, she's trying to say that Roy Perez is the DJ equivalent of Gal Gadot. That's crazy, bro. Hold on. Are they about to say that Roy Perez is the DJ equivalent of Gal Gadot because he puts on a couple of parties in Tel Aviv? Come on. DJs like Roy Perez are queer, metropolitan, subcultural. Largely, they want to stay out of politics. If pressed, they will. What's wrong with that? So hold on. You get punished for being on a lineup with Palestinian DJs. You get punished for wanting there to be a ceasefire and de-escalation and a return of both hostages on both sides. You get punished if you don't want to get involved in politics. You get punished if you try and raise money for both sides. Like, it's exhausting. Like, there's only one way to react. There's only one way for you to kind of address this. If you don't address it in that one way, then you're you know what I mean? You're useless. You're gonna get discarded. You're gonna get insulted. You're gonna get, you're gonna have your reputation damaged, like ruined and shit. I don't think that's fair, man. Honestly, I really don't. And like I said, I don't see anyone still asking the question, what the hell was he doing in the Israeli Navy for 7 years? That's the actual more important question. Not all this stuff. Oh, you put parties on in Israel. Zionists is like, or you could just be from there. Like, what? DJs like Roy Perez are queer, metropolitan, subcultural. Largely, they want to stay out of politics. If pressed, they will distance themselves from the colony's current government, criticize aspects of the policy, and even champion approved native causes like the mental health of queer Palestinians or the fundraiser for safe imperial core charities like Palestine's Children Relief Fund. What's wrong with that? So what are they trying to say? If they received a bunch of money from some Israeli people to support some of these charities, would they reject it? Just a principle. They'll deny people who need the help most not the access to it because it doesn't come from the right hands. Despite these superficial differences, Gadot and Perez are both avatars of the colony's soft power within culture. Gadot helps project Israel futurity and permanence within the mass culture. A tough militaristic Sabra, a frontier guardsman of white Western hegemony. Perez performs parallel roles within the queer underground, soothing us with an image of the settler of Tel Aviv as the enlightened and the progressive. Both profit from and depend on the settled occupation of Palestine. Both abhor and oppose actual Palestine resistance. Perez is a gentrified side of the same genocidal coin. In addition to normalizing the occupation in rave culture, Roy Perez also undermines community boycotts of Zionist and KKK-owned venues. His Instagram is an interminable visual loop of scabbings, from Berghain door selfies where he's resident to, of course, the pinned post from Boiler Room. It is critical, so he's not allowed to play. So because he doesn't adhere to the boycott, he's now an enemy. Don't get me wrong. Maybe these somewhat mean-spirited tactics actually might work in the end, because I guess maybe the ends justify the means, but I don't know, this feels a little bit excessive. I get, you know, maybe being disappointed that some DJ that you love and follow isn't maybe supporting the boycott by like doing all this. That's what, so what, he's meant to like not play at those places? Like, I don't know, if he's not participating in the boycott, he's not participating in the boycott, why then try and like beat him over the head or insult him because he's doing things that the people that are in the boycott aren't doing? It's like, oh duh, he's not a part of it. It is critical we spell these links out. This is a DJ who encodes via his plucky province to metropole settler backstory. He's a plucky story, and his appropriation of black house music. Oh my god! Don't get me wrong, right? Seeing kind of music guys up on stages, right, around the world, playing to thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, African music that I couldn't legitimately play at most clubs I try and play at. You know, I'd kind of get told to like, hey, fucking switch it up, you know, start fucking playing good music and shit. And now seeing these guys getting booked around the world, you know, it can leave you a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth. But the game is the game. The game is the game, man. Get better. I don't know. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like, and also it's just music. You know, you don't like, I don't understand. If anything, you want more people to play it so it spreads. So everyone's more aware of the genius of the fucking legendary tracks that were made within that genre, right? Not this idea that, you know, oh, only black people can play it. It's like, come on, bro. Come on. And also, you're a DJ. You should what is this, man? So black people can only play black people music by the DJ. Same goes for white people. It's like, that's just boring. What the fuck is that? But yeah, what do I know? The colonial narrative of the benevolent, queer-friendly, liberal Zionism. At the same time, he is actively undermining boycotts aimed at resisting the co-option of the rave culture by the empire. What can Israeli artists do then? I want to hear this. What did they say? What did they suggest? Because they made it seem like Israeli artists they should basically just unalive themselves. But what can they do? Israeli is not an immutable identity. It describes an affiliation with a colonial project which is less than 80 years old. When Palestine is liberated, nobody will be called Israeli. Like Rhodesian or white South African Confederate, the term will one day be a morbid artifact of a collapsed white supremacist regime. Okay, but until then, that's in an ideal world, but until then, if you're an Israeli artist who just happens to be from there, you never served a day in your life in the army, nobody in your family's killed anybody, let alone Palestinians, what can you do? Just pretend you're like Brazilian or something. Like, what do you do? Throughout history, there are records of settlers switching sides. Roland Bunting's that name? Born into a military loyalist family in the north of Ireland, helped to form. Is that what they're basically saying then? Switching sides. So what? They want Palestinians, they want Israeli DJs to then switch to being Palestinian. That's what will make it. What? Hold on. Throughout history, there are records of settlers switching sides. Ronald Bunting, born into a military loyalist family in the north of Ireland, helped to form the Irish National Liberation Army in the 1970s. He became its leader in 1978 and was assassinated in 1980 by loyalist paramilitaries. Similar examples can be found in Algeria, Mozambique, Angola, and South Africa. In doing so, these settlers sacrificed their status within colonial projects, their individual spoils, their safety. They put their bodies on the line. They became race traitors to coinage of a no, in whatever his name is. By contrast, Roy Perez reaps the rewards of his settler self-actualization, having launched an international DJ career of the thriving underground nightlife of Tel Aviv. He continues to normalize the occupation and undermine the collective boycott efforts. He does this with the indulgence of the underground centered spaces like Basement and Fold. That's probably why Fold cancelled. I think it was at Fold and it cancelled, went to MOT, and then obviously Origins cancelled when all these articles started going viral and people from their, Origin fans were like, I'm not going if you, I'm assuming. There are many things Perez and other Laundrette DJs could do to martially support Palestinian liberation. There's a bullet point of what they should be doing, right? As Israeli people. Publicly renounce their settler citizenships, passports, and identity. Real easy. Real easy. If you don't want us to call you Zionists, if you don't want us to call you like settler DJs, you have to renounce your citizenship, your passport, and your identity. Real easy. Refuse all future commerce and association with settler colony. Apologize for the normalization of the colony. and the commitment of the R word, respect. What's that? Ongoing boycott actions aimed at delegitimizing the entity, such as Berghain, Hor, and KKKR owned venues. What else was that one? And use every tool at their disposal to agitate for the core tenets of the Palestinian liberation, an independent, sovereign Palestine state of over all the historic Palestine, and a right to return to undisplaced Palestinians, and legitimacy of other forms of resistance, whatever it may be called. Jesus Christ, a long list, man. It's still going. A call for escalation. The horrors are in Gaza are impossible to describe or comprehend. It is critical we escalate our efforts within the imperial core now to delegitimize and isolate entity as rapidly as completely as possible. Okay, so I guess what they're trying to say is that because the level of violence and tragedy in Palestine is really ramping up, they need to ramp up too, to kind of, try and help, which I understand, and it's, somewhat admirable. But it's just, I don't know, it's just maybe the look, everything about it, the aura, something's really not there right here, Maybe he wouldn't admit it now because he's already admitted to loads in the Jordan interview, but, they need to speak about that. They really do. But let's continue. It includes the challenges of individuals who normalize within the culture. In the 80s, there were public blacklists of musicians who broke the cultural boycott to play in the apartheid. But this is not a cultural boycott, really. This is like a subculture boycott. It's like a niche boycott. I don't think it's a public one. I don't think there's a lot of people that even know what's going on about this boycott. I'm sorry to God. In the 1980s, there were public blacklists. These measures were effective in raising the cost of the normalization and scabbing which would have learned more from. We urge Origins, Fold, Body Movements, Basement, all other venues, collectives to cease platforming DJs from Laundrette. Jesus Christ. Pure, unbridled, in fucking full HD cancel culture right there. Like, let's go, get him the fuck. It's like, come on, man, that's not fair. For their long-standing normalization of Israel, they adhere to tenets by the Al-Falbin, and they will call for their whatever it may be. So yeah, absolutely crazy. Anything more here? Directly challenge club owners and promoters who are booking Laundrette Collective refuse to play on the lineups of these DJs. Unfollow them on social media, and if they are playing in the function, don't go. Tell others not to go, and stop going to venues which celebrate artists complicit in the genocide. So that effectively led to Origins cancelling his gig. Origin Sound cancelled his gig. This is what Roy Perez has had to say about Origins cancelling his gig proper last minute too, if I'm not mistaken, just the other day. I think I might have did it on Wednesday or something. Last week, Origins cancelled my all night long show in Fold in London. I want to address the claims that led to their decision to make it clear what I said, or to make it clear where I stand. Yes, sad, because he's a big fan of Fold too, if I'm not mistaken. Hasn't he posted a bunch of stuff about Fold? Yeah, he's got a whole highlights thing with all the times he's been to Fold and shit, right? So he was meant to literally, he was advertising it the other day. He was super looking forward to it, posting about on his IG all over the place, and now it's just not on. He says, I oppose the Israeli regime and its ongoing genocide of Palestine and the people. I support the cultural boycott of Israel as a part of the wider movement for Palestinian liberation, and I reject all forms of nationalism, including Zionism. So he's doing what the article says. He's just not renouncing his citizenship, I guess. Or they're pretending he's from fucking Sicily or some shit. This is reflected in the actions. I no longer play in Israel. Since October 2023, the only show I played there was our non-profit fundraiser. I have no professional ties to the country, and I use my platform to fundraise, amplify Palestinian voices, and direct sources to Palestinian-led organizations. That commitment is public and ongoing. That sounds chill, man. What's wrong with that? I know he did like 7 years in the Israeli Navy. I know he meant on many missions, right? So yeah, but he doesn't even play in Israel. He doesn't even go to Israel. He doesn't even know what Israel is anymore. It's been years, man. It's been so long. 2023 is like ages ago. Growing up under occupation means being affected by propaganda from birth. Oh my God, he's blaming, you know what we say about Brendan, blaming the team. Instead of blaming the team, he's blaming the country. Is he going to say that Benjamin Netanyahu fucking hypnotized him? BB hypnotized me. It wasn't my fault. Oh, come on, Roy Perez. This is a horrible defense, bro. I don't even know where Israel is on the map. I don't even play there anymore. I don't even go there. Growing up under occupation means being affected by propaganda from birth. Questioning your surroundings isn't something you do overnight. Neither is recognizing how active the role in cities' nightlife is contributing to normalization. That shift only became possible once I was exposed to what, in 2003? Other voices and perspectives that set me on the path towards rejecting a system I was raised in. He's blaming Bibi Netanyahu. He's blaming his parents. Yo, Roy Perez, bro. Don't ever do a crime with Roy Perez, because if you get caught, he's snitching for sure. It's also part of why 10 years ago I left Israel, cancelled my residency rights, and ceased contribute tax money to that country. Fuck, really? He's done quite a lot then, isn't it? Come on, Ravens of Palestine, man. Leave him alone. He's done quite a lot. Publicly circulating the names of artists and clubs with the intention of isolate them doesn't advance the movement of Palestinian liberation. It creates fear, fractures the communities, and silence people who are already committed to the cause. These tactics don't dismantle apartheid. They undermine solidarity, which is the heart of our community. Yeah, exactly. They don't. It's actually quite. There is an apartheid side about it, but he's basically saying, "Look, please don't cancel my. Please don't fucking fuck up my livelihood," because he knows how damaging this could be. And I think this is a bit excessive, man. This, because I didn't know anything about that stuff, right? So he doesn't live there. He doesn't pay taxes there. He doesn't have his residency, he mentioned, right? Again, I don't think you need to do this in order to fucking, live and breathe in the industry like that. As long as you haven't done anything heinous in the army, I think that should be okay. I'm not gonna lie. I think everything else is crazy. Like these guys are basically saying, if you're Israeli and you're in the industry, you can't take part unless you renounce your citizenship. And it's like, why should you have to do that? That's the land of your birth, land of your parents and shit, ancestors. Why should you have to renounce your ancestry just so you can play in fucking Berghain, or just so you can play in places, not Berghain anyway, because they don't mind, but you can play in places conscience free? That seems a bit excessive. That seems a little bit excessive. I will continue to use the dance floor as a space of resistance. Let's see if you still have gigs, mate. Joy and solidarity. Queer nightlife has always been political. I believe in its power to bring people together against a system of oppression. Through my work as a DJ and a host of Laundrette, I will keep supporting Palestinian liberation, uplifting marginalized voices, and building safer, free spaces. So everyone who bought a ticket, I'm sorry, I was looking forward to sharing a night with you, Roy. Fuck. Like, they're going for him, innit? They're going for him, bro. I think it might be over for the guy. I'm not gonna lie. I really think it might be over for him. Let's check the Instagram. What Rage of Palestine saying? What they're saying on their stories. I love the complicit DJ damage control starter package, removing your pin. Oh really? Oh, did you see that? Hold on. Oh, is that what happened? Oh no, is that what happened? Roy, okay. I love the complicit DJ damage control starter pack of removing your pinned whore boiler room set and then posting a vague comment of statements on Instagram to say that you are doing your best to uplift Palestinian voices on a dance floor without actually saying how or what. To be fair, that was a bit of a lie, in it. To be fair, what they actually did in terms of profits, I think was better. You should have just told the truth. We put on a night, as I said here, right? And some of the profits of that night went to help queer folk in Israel and Palestine. Boom. But lying and saying you're uplifting, like, who did you uplift? Like, who did you book? Like, let's be real, not that you have to do that to kind of justify yourself, but if you're gonna use that, you're gonna have to prove that you did it, innit? Uplift Palestine voices. The most shameful part of this is the artists who are liking it and further normalizing, enabling all of this. Yo, everyone's getting called out. If you like a post, you're getting called out. If I don't know, if you don't unfollow somebody, if you're pinned, like, Jesus. But you know what? If the means justify the ends, then it might be worth it, because I don't know, that video I saw recently of, like, I don't know where it was in Palestine, but there was like a building that was half blown apart, and there was people, like, ambulance services and stuff trying to help people, and you can see them climbing up the stairs, and then 2 seconds later you see a missile hit it and everyone just evaporates. All the people that were, like, I think there might be like Red Cross or some people that do the ambulance and shit, just gone. It's like they're legitimately, like, if it wasn't bad enough that they're killing women and children, like, even people who are helping, like aid workers and shit, do you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck, like, what are you doing there? So if that brings about the end of that sort of stuff, or the end of seeing clips of people's, you know, severed limbs being peeled off of a roof of a hospital, I'm all for it. But it does feel a little bit wild though, isn't it? Like the finger pointing, the fucking ganging up on the cancer, like it's a bit intense. Like you like that post? Like, I don't know, maybe someone liked it because they thought the sentiments was somewhat sincere. Maybe they didn't think it was that big of a deal. I don't know. Like, also, like, why they get, like, Jesus Christ, man, like, people are getting cancelled for liking things. The most shameful part of this is that may you all never experience the horrors of silence and spinelessness to call out and check your friends or causes. I get that some people think dance music or make dance music or clubbing in general political, but if some people don't, they shouldn't be cancelled or chastised for it either. I think that's another unfair thing. As someone whose entire family left Baghdad to escape the horrors of war and ethnic cleansing, I've shared dance floors with many of you. How do you think these actions make me and others of my experience feel? Shame on you. Damn. DJ, was that DJ In? DJ InWave is not having it. There's another person here. What's that? While Roy Perez served in the IDF Navy, it blocked the 2010 Freedom Flotilla and it's... Yo, I think it might be over for Roy Perez. I think it might be over. While Roy Perez served in the IDF's Navy, it blocked the 2010 Freedom Flotilla and executed the activists on board. So someone was able to figure out the dates that he served in the Navy and were able to kind of, you know, check out any events that happened around then. And they found this article from 15 years ago that said Gaza Flotilla, or Gaza Flotilla, or Flotilla, I think that's what it's called. Activists were shot in the head at close range. Israel is tonight under pressure to allow an independent inquiry into an assault on the Gaza Aid Flotilla after an autopsy result of the bodies of those killed, obtained by The Guardian, revealed they were peppered with 9mm bullets, many fired at close. Oh my god, oh my fucking god, oh my fucking god, oh my fucking god. I think it might be a wrap for Roy Perez, bro. I think you might have to go into fucking... I think you might have to get your PT license or something. Become a chef. Like, I think it might be a wrap, bro. I think it might be a wrap. This is worse than that guy from E1, innit? That allegedly was involved in some, you know, nefarious things over there.
The founder of the London techno club E1 resigned on Monday. His name is Yuval Hin, and on Instagram, an activist group called Ravers for Palestine posted what looked like a screenshot of his loved one celebrating his safe return after he participated in the occupation of Gaza with the IDF.
Fucking hell. Oh my god. Oh my god. And he's saying he uplifted voices. Brother, what did you do in the Navy for 7 years? Please tell us. Oh, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Roy Perez was on IOF for 7 years. He's being actively critiqued by Ravers of Palestine. Shame on ATL Pride for this booking. Yeah, he'll most likely get fucking cancelled for that too, by the way. He's playing in a place called Deep South with Beer Cat and Roy Perez on the lineup. The flyer's quite cool though. Fuck, man, they're going after everything, bro. What's this one? Who this one said? Why are unions of a genocidal settler colony silent on genocide? Another one says here, who's this? Who's cancelling their boiler room? Who's that? Boycott boiler room. Who's cancelling their boiler room? What DJ is that? I can't see their name. Is that Yoon something? Yoon Song. I don't know who that person is, but whoever that is, I'm cancelling my boiler room Lisbon appearance. I believe that I believe that more than ever we need to be vigilant and protective of our underground culture that was built on small gestures of resistance, love, and liberation, personal and communal. The current corporate takeover of the scene can only lead to division, standardization, and control, especially when linked to the economy of war and genocide. My position is clear. I stand against genocide and apartheid state. Free Palestine. Someone called Yen Sung. Big up Yen Sung. Okay, fucking hell. And then going on a post here regarding what's his face, Roy Perez. It says here, culture is political. This is an article from that. What's that? Harvard? No, I think I want to go on the other one. This is the one. He served 7. This is the one, right? Big up Ravens for Palestine. Per his 2016 interview with Haaretz, Translated from Hebrew, Roy Perez spent 7 years working on missile ships for the IOF, manning the genocidal navy currently menacing the Sumud flotilla. So he says here he served 7 years in the Navy as an electronics officer on a missile ship. So he ensured the missiles were firing, basically. he kept that ship, on. An electronics engineer on a missile ship. Fuck. At the same time, he studied for a multidisciplinary bachelor's degree in University of Haifa. At that time, he says, I would listen to a lot of indie electronic music, The Knife, Postal Service, Kate Bush. Imagine listening to Kate Bush as you're fucking firing missiles on the coast of fucking Palestine and shit. Like, wow. I would put on headphones on the bus on the way to the army and escaping the music. It kept me going. I like you, Roy Perez. I like you. I like you a lot, but that's some serial killer shit. Playing some Kate Bush in the headphones on your way to fucking blow up women and children is insane. Truly, truly insane. 7 years is wild, though. You're required to serve in the army for what? 3 years, 2.5? Man did 7. Run it back. Fuck. It might be over for him, man. I'm not gonna lie. It might be over for the guy. It really fucking might be over. He said something about, oh yeah, I don't do this, I don't do that. I haven't been to Israel in long. That's his boyfriend, right? What's his name? Partok? Yonti. That's it, Yonti. Let's see if this is true, because I'm curious to see. I've not been back there since 2003. Let's see what Yonti's. Or maybe Yonti delete some of the pictures as well. When was this taken? 2004. That's in a basement in New York. That's them in front of Berghain, looking cute. Let's see any posts here of them perform, because it'd be funny if we see one. 2024. What that is, don't know. That is in Ukraine, playing in that famous club in Kiev with a number. Berghain, him and his dog. Berghain. What is that one? That's Asia somewhere. Berghain again. Berlin again. The school, pick up the school, basement in New York again. So he played okay. Nothing. Okay, I don't see anything. Oh, there we go. There's Fee Garden. So they played there when? When was that? When was that night there? Honored to. I'm excited to host. My dear friend Quelza for a next curated Fee Garden, local queens. So I imagine he was probably that's September 2023. You make it sound like he wasn't there in ages. Most likely he might have been there then. What's this one? Fee Garden again. Yeah, look at, see there he said edited. When was that edited though? Edited when? Edited when? Because it says there, as always, portion of earnings will be donated to a non-profit organization to provide financial support. What did people say in the comments back then? Nothing, innit, really? Berlin gig, Yonti again, Fee Garden again. With who's that? Alarico, whatever his fucking name is. Apologies to you, guy. I don't know. Final thoughts on this whole situation. I think it's kind of unfair. I think it's not unfair. I think it's kind of, it's kind of excessive, because so far we've only got that one article, right, about what happened in 15 years ago, and at the same time that he served in the Israeli Navy. But I think that should be the real focus of the investigation, of the critique. That should be the focus, not whether or not he fucking runs parties or puts on nights in Israel and shit. Because he's from there, he lives there. Of course he'd kind of try and give back or whatever, maybe. I don't think that's really the biggest problem. I think the real issue is to figure out what exactly happened when he was in the Navy. That would give you a better idea of, the kind of person he is and stuff, and the kind of things that he got up to whilst he was serving his country. But Jesus Christ, man, that's a shocker. I'm surprised it took people so long to find out, because I think I might have mentioned in a couple pods actually that I was surprised he wasn't getting any blowback, because I thought, hold on, this guy's Palestinian, and so this guy's Israeli, no? He's kind of always going back there too to play throughout the entirety of the war in Gaza or the genocide in Gaza. Better put, he was playing in Israel, going back and forth and shit. I was wondering, Why is he not get not that he should get, you know, hate comments, but I was just curious to see that, okay, people seem to be maybe having a bit of nuance here, and you know, hey, this guy's not this, he doesn't do that. I don't know, but it seems like people have woken up or caught on, and now, you know, it's the cancel Roy Perez session right now. He's getting it left, right, and center. He's getting it left, right, and center. So I feel for the guy, I really do. But it looks like it's over. It looks like it's fucking over, bro. That one article from the Guardian was crazy. Like, that one article from the Guardian was insane. I think it might be a wrap for the guy. Honestly, I really do think it might be a wrap. But I guess he's gonna try his best with that message to try and fix things and shit. But I think it might be a wrap. I really do think it might be a wrap. And I think he's limited his comments, right? Yeah. I think most of his posts have been limited too. Honestly, I think most of his posts have been limited as well. So unfortunately, I think he's seeing the, you know, the hate and shit. He's not responding it to it the best, and yeah, he's limited all the comments, I think, on his Instagram. So you can't say jack shit. You can't say jack shit to him directly, you know? Which I guess is what it is. Which I guess is what it is. I guess it is what it is.